Hi, everybody. So I'm going to be just answering a few questions that have been coming in. I feel like there's some really important questions that may really help people. I'm not going to go through all the questions, but these are important for the collective to know the answers to. So we're going to go through that, and remember that I am communicating with my soul. So that's where the answers come from. So they come from a much higher perspective. And I really feel like that helps. It's definitely helped me a ton in my life. So this first question is from Steve. And he wants to know how many years it will take for us to relearn all our truths. So that is a big question. It's important. And I feel like the majority of us that are going through this process will know more and more, almost like steps. And think about a long stairway. So we're basically there, these bridges have been created, and they're more like stairs. They're more like a lighthouse stairway, like a spiral stairway. And as you step onto the stairway, you're starting to remember who you are inside of you. And we're all on that stairway right now in different places on those stairs. So some people, they may not realize who they are until the golden age hits. And I get that that's right around 2030. Time doesn't really exist though. So that's a whole nother conundrum for people, but it's not very long, and that can be sped up or spread out, however the consciousness goes. So you have to realize we are all consciousness, and we're in what I would describe as like a lucid dream. So this is a lucid learning dream that we're in. And how long, it really depends on how long, how much work they do, how much inner work they do. Where will they be on that stairway? So think of it that way. Now, even when the golden age is here, there will be people that have reached a certain platform, but they may not know what several other people already know. They're still learning. There are so many people only knowing lies. So that's true, but there are people that are not meant to awaken. And those people are more like the backdrop people. They are the NPC people. And if you have one of them in your life, they may awaken and become different, or they will fall away. And we have to let go of what, our attachment to that, to how they do in the game. Because it is a learning game, and consciousness wise, they're always there. Whether they pass away, whether they go and have another life away from you, consciousness wise, you're still connected in the real reality that is just consciousness. Okay. Does timing line up with unity consciousness? Yes and no. We are still going to be individuals, but realizing that we all have consciousness and that's what actually is driving everything, that's a big part of our awareness. And that's a big part of ascension. You should be talking to your own soul about this stuff. So he, excuse me, he asks, where to whom should I be asking these questions? You want to talk to your own soul. Your inner child is being guided by your soul, and you want to talk to your soul and ask those questions. And I have a program for that, so I will put that below, but it is not that hard to talk to your soul anymore. And that is a big part of the awakening process. So eventually everybody will get their own answers from within. And that's asking your own soul for those answers. And as we get more and more integrated with our soul, which we're really pretty integrated, then your oversoul is who you're asking. So a bigger piece of your soul, like the big piece. I want to show you guys these clouds and talk about them a little bit because they illustrate something. And I want to thank Mike for sharing these. So this cloud looks like a feather. And we know where this came from, but why is it feathering out like that? It's feathering out like that because a frequency was introduced to it. And this frequency I get actually came from a being, but it doesn't always. So sometimes, and this is also being like, those particles are being rearranged by energy and frequency. Now this one, this has less to do with a being and more of a frequency broadcast. So keep that in mind. And thank you for those pictures because it really illustrates something kind of cool. And everything is energy and frequency. So the energy is what drives the frequency. So everything is energy, actually. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so we're going to share one more picture because this is really good. So this is the eclipse. And up here at the top, you can see that the eclipse is happening. And you can see all that bright orange and purple and stuff, which most people saw that come out. Now, down here is another moon. So I do believe that the eclipse was an engineered event. And it was engineered for a reason because we're passing through a doorway, which means we've opened a doorway with the frequency. So that's fun because it makes us more aware to know that what we're seeing all the time with our eyes is not necessarily real. So it's important to have these kinds of pictures, and it really does help, you guys. It helps a lot. So, and share those on your social media and say, what was that? You don't have to say what you think it is if you don't want to. You can just say, that's very odd. What was that? Okay, so this question really embarks on what is sovereign versus what is not. So you can hold space for somebody. This comes from Tiffany, wanting to know, can she hold space for someone who is suffering in her life and give them the space to say yes to good things and imagining that for them versus continuing to say, yes, I'll allow these people to mess with my system. And this comes from, medical stuff. So yes, it is great to hold space for people. It is not okay to push and, psychically push on someone, but it's okay to send them tons of love, to show them, if you're in proximity with them, how much you love them. And it's okay to shower them with love, because if you're holding the love for them and you're holding that space and you're believing in their highest timeline, then you're giving them a pathway. Whether they take it or not is up to them. And I've learned that by giving somebody their highest timeline for healing, and they said no. So basically, they chose to go through the suffering because they didn't believe that they were worthy of letting go of whatever happened to them. So just creating the path and sending love is massive, but it's also allowing them to remain sovereign, which is really important. Because if somebody wants to continue to learn lessons and spend time suffering, it really is their choice. So we have to honor that as well. And we also need to let go of the attachment and let them be free, because if they don't feel like the pressure from us, then they're more able to see the path because the pressure goes away. So think about it that way, I guess. And tune into your own guidance and see how that actually works for you. Okay, so I also want to bring up the downloads and the energy expansion and all of the expansion that we've been experiencing, and we're still in it right now. It's going to take a little while for it to settle. So if you've had big downloads, if you've had big events happen, it really is going to take a little while for it to settle in. So just be kind to yourself and give yourself space to absorb it, because we have advanced massively over the last 2.5 weeks. It's been a big thing. Okay, and this question comes from Carrie. She wants to know why she's obsessed with angels, because she is an angelic. So if you are passionate about something, if you feel it, if you feel inspired by something, you're connected to it. So allow that in, that you're connected, and think about how you're connected. Okay. Do automatic writing, do all the, there's so many tools out there that can help you. So use them to figure out why. And that will really help. But you have a big angelic soul, and angels are everywhere. So enjoy it and share it. And you've created a business with it. So I'm just going to show you how inspired she is. She's making these little angel earrings. So really just kind of enjoying ourselves. Do what you're inspired to do. Small business is going to be the wave of the future. You can see all of the corporations being exposed right now. So many of them are not going to be here anymore because they haven't been in the best interests of humanity. So just kind of remembering that, I think, is really important, and giving yourself the self-love to learn about how to share what you're doing with the world so that your business thrives. Because we're in that in-between period where not everybody's conscious enough to just like show up at your door yet. So think about the ways that you can share and create the story, like create the inspiration, bring it out of yourself, write it down, tell people why you're inspired by that. I think that's really important. Okay, so I'm going to answer this one, and then I'm probably going to do another one, maybe with somebody or whatever, but I want to address this last one because I feel like all these things are really important for right now. So this comes from Lois, and she's asking, can we ascend to the same dimension as the ones that have already passed? Is it possible to be able to live with them again as a family? I would really appreciate it to know, so I can realize the truth one way or another. I know we have free will. Thank you very much if you have time to answer this, and love and light. So how does this really work? So we are consciousness, and we can have all kinds of lifetimes going on at the same time. We can have lifetimes that we create again. So think about it this way. Do you want to have another lifetime with them? Participate in another game with them, another learning game where you have a body? Because we'll still be doing learning games. It's going to be different though. So are we hanging on to the past? Because consciousness-wise, you never left each other. You can still see them in the astral plane, and you will be able to do that again. But they won't necessarily have a body. And when we go into the astral plane, we don't have a body either. So it's not the same as playing out a scenario like we do here. So ask yourself, do I want to have another experience, let's call it, in a matrix with a body, with these beings that I love? Or is it enough to see them in the astral plane and converse with them there and see them in a bigger way? Because that's what we will be able to do as we continue to grow. So I've met family members in the astral plane already. And that's part of what we're doing if you allow it to happen. And you can say, I'm holding space for that. I would like to meet, my mother in a dream and to converse with her and to retain that dream when I show up back in this body. And then I would like to progress further and be able to talk with her whenever I want to. We're in this big expansion. And it occurred to me today that this is like a lucid dream. It's a dream where you're aware that you're dreaming. That's where we're getting to. We're aware that we're participating in a scenario to grow the consciousness. We're expanding our consciousness right now. So everything is happening. Everything that we can't even imagine is happening. And one of those things is you can talk to a soul that you love whenever you want to. That's one of the really big things that is coming. And I would start talking to them now. So talk to them now, write down the messages that they give you. And you do that by being in a space of calm, Zen, you could call it, theta. Humming will get you into that space. When you do this, when you first wake up, you'll be in that space. It's really good, you guys. So start experimenting and talk to them. And you can say at the beginning, I will only speak to this being and I will only allow it as in my highest good. But when you're asleep at night, we're all together talking, doing things, creating things. That's the real space. So just kind of marinate in that a little while and see how that feels, because we're kind of in this process where we're learning more and more and we're expanding more and more. And that is ascension. Ascension is allowing our consciousness to grow and to vibrate faster and to become our real selves. So be kind to yourself, let yourself absorb things, and love yourself through this process. Okay, so that is my little video today. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and just know how loved you are from the universe, and just enjoy your weekend, really. That's what I would say. Okay, all right, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.